Welcome to Kaliningrad region. Welcome to Russia. Please tell me if it is your first time in Russia. No, but is it your first time in our region, in this area?
Yeah.
Then I wish you unforgettable days here. I want you to get, great impressions. When Königsberg was renamed Kaliningrad and the region incorporated into Russia. Our region is the smallest one in Russia. Its area only 930 square miles. Yeah, we're usually, saying kilometers, yeah, but for you in miles, yeah. The population of the region years, because due to its geographical position, the region serves as a link, as a bridge between the east and the west, between Russia and the European countries.
Я придумал этот автобус тоже немец.
1190 in Palestine to suppress the Prussians. Having suffered a defeat in Palestine battles, the Crusaders moved to Europe to look for the new places to settle. Moving further on from the rivers of Wisla and Nogat in Poland, at last they reached the peninsula of Zambia or Zamland. On their way, they erected a number of fortresses, such as Elbing and Marienburg, it's in Poland now, and Valga and Brandenburg, it's in our area, in Kaliningrad region. And at last, in January 1255, they approached the Prussian settlement Twangste, the Prussian settlement on the bank of the river Prigoda. The Crusaders burned the Prussian settlement down and founded the first wooden fortress. It happened in 1255. But the Prussians didn't yield. They burned the wooden fortress down. Unfortunately, their forces were very unequal. The Prussians had no regular army. Their number was only 170,000 people. And as for the Crusaders, they were 5 years. Following the defeat in that war, despite the majestic system of fortification works, Prussia was captured by the Russian troops. If all together, then we won't. I think in a couple of in 10 minutes maybe. Yeah.
So good morning, everybody here. We'll be at the hotel 5-10 minutes. Standard procedure on this tour when we get to hotels is we get your luggage from your checked luggage from the bus into the lobby. and then we send it to your room. Okay. I check you in the hotels usually, and I give them all your passports. What we have scheduled today is part of our city tour. We'll see a little more of the city tomorrow, leaving at 3 p.m. Is that going to work for people? And if someone wants to skip the tour and relax, let me know. We can pick you up before dinner, but if everyone comes with us, we will not be going back to the hotel before dinner. We'll just do a little sightseeing and then dinner at 6. Okay?
We don't have to change or anything for dinner. There's just enough night for it.
You can change before the tour if you want. Shower. Yeah.
It's already after.
Yeah.
How about water?
Yeah.
Anywhere, I don't suggest drinking tap water anywhere we go. We'll always point out to you where you can buy bottled water. We ordered a bottle of water in your room here. I'm always afraid to guarantee anything until I see it. But there's supposed to be a bottle in your room. If not, we'll get you one to start with. We'll point out everywhere where you can buy bottled water. One thing you may have a little trouble with in this part of the world is bottled water is often carbonated. It's not always able to find uncarbonated. Some people don't like that. About changing money, there should be a place to change money at the hotel. If not, we'll find you another place. Rates are pretty similar at hotels and on the streets here.
What is the rate now?
28,
27.
27,
27.
even?
No, 27.1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4.
27.
Yeah, 27 rubles, 27.1 to 0.4 rubles to a dollar. The dollar's fallen slightly this summer, not too much, but a little bit. You're not going to need rubles. You're only going to need rubles for this country. Every country we go on this tour uses different money. Okay?
So how much money do you think you'll need?
How much money do you need? Part of it depends on your shopping, what you want to buy. What you'll find a lot is in some places will take dollars. Official shops will not take.
Пойдем в музей. Какой утонул, да?
Ой, да.
Ты гостиница, что ли? Скажешь им, что сейчас рядом? Нет? Ты не спрашиваешь?
Fancy that.
Спрашиваешь, что это? Это дорожа.
I guess people are charged.
Там сейчас по рукам таки палец отвалится. Показывал. Шпак.
The boat? The boat?
Guaranteed fanciest hotel of the tour. The boat.
Пеньки уж вы что, 5 звездочек.
Really?
No.
Interesting. founder of the first evangelical society here. And besides, he was the grandfather of the famous German painter Tape1. I think you have heard of him, the painter who worked much in the concentration camps during the war. Well, this is unfortunately 1924. He was the sixth child in the family. He was very weak when he was born. The doctors told his mother that he would live only 16, 18 years. Just have a look. He always took special care of his health. He walked every day. He walked for 2 hours every day, and he always took the same route. So this route was called Path's Way. Well, Kant's Way. Sermons of different religions will take place in this city. Yeah? Will unite all the religions. I'll tell about the religions. Yeah? Well, all the religions living here. That's why a symbolic cross is all over the one side, the museum of the man, the museum of the cathedral, and the museum of the Iron Knife. And besides, there will be a museum of North when the restoration. Yes. And by the way, this shirt by Amber and Peter White, because to come there and not to buy Amber is like to come to Rome and not to see the Pope. This shirt by Amber, yeah, to see the Pope. It will be that tower. It's 12 meters. The walls are 2 meters thick. Part of the fortification works. So it was founded in the middle of the 17th century and restored in the 19th. And opened in November 1979. The banner of victory, the Russian banner of victory was raised there on the 9th of April 1945. That's why this is not only by Germans, they started, yeah, but also the Russians do this work, all the nationalities, the Polish, yeah, also take part in this work. And in these pictures you can see some of the memorials all over the area, For example, memorial in the summer, the place where I live. Well, more than 600 Russians here, and it was well and hello and so on. And pictures show work. By Otto von Lasch, yeah, by Otto von Lasch, and by the group of the Russian troops and Louis. Yankovsky, Pedakov, and Shpitalnik.
Yeah, come on, come on, share. We'll meet you right there. We'll meet you just outside, is that okay?
1942, then it shows and her 5 children.
In prisons?
No, they worked.
Oh,
They
for
worked here
yeah.
on one of the farms. They worked there for 3 years. On the way to Germany, my grandmother lost. I'll show you Kant's statue at the University of Leningrad.
You're still on Oh.
Thanks.
улыбку Елены. Ее первая песня, конечно, о любви.
Well, this is here they are. She will sing about love, of course. About love, of course. Yeah.
И что такое хоровод? Хоровод – танец, когда мы танцуем и поем.
hidden in the basement of that building. There are a lot of versions, a lot of legends. Well, I promised you to tell about the Amber Room later when we were in the Museum of Amber. I'll tell you about it later on. Well, the statue, which will be on your left, is the so-called Mother Russia. Well, erected, unveiled in 1970 when Hitler came to power. Most of the squares and streets were renamed, and it got the name Hitler Square. On the place where Lenin's statue stands now, there was the gate to the northeastern Prussian Theater. Just behind the statue is the building site of the Orthodox Cathedral. Well, by the way, Kaliningrad is one of the few cities in Russia where Lenin statues are still in existence, and Svetlogorsk here. And now, Hufenallee, one of the most beautiful streets of Königsberg. Now it bears the name Mir Avenue, Peace Avenue. On the right, the former headquarters of the German police, now the State Technical University of Kaliningrad. There are two universities, Kaliningrad State University with a number of students, with 9,000. We saw the main building in the square, where Immanuel Kant statue stands, and this technical university with a number of students, 5,000. Trained specialists for the fishing industry. Здесь очень тихонечко, вот там за зонтиком. Well, the blue building on the right is the former law court of Northeastern Church of Queen Louisa. Queen Louisa, the wife of the Prussian King Frederick Wilhelm I. She was loved by everybody in this. Some of them have the names of the owners on the right. Landhaus Ruth here. Some of them have the names of the owners on them. Well, there were two squares in this. It was Carte Allee before the war. This one was Frederick Wilhelm III square. The building on the left, just behind the fence, the building on the left was erected for the last three mayors of Königsberg. The last three mayors lived there. The first one was Kerte. The street bore his name because he did much for the city. And of course you know the very beautiful villa which belonged to Messerschmitt family. I have told you that there are more than 600 different bushes and trees. In 1995, at the end of the 19th century, the rapid growth of the industry began here. On the right, the grey building on the right, is the last Lutheran church, Christ Church, which was built in Königsberg before the war. It was the last. It was built in 1938. Well, now it serves as a palace of culture for the workers of a carriage building plant.
That's Kaliningrad region, which is 15th from the mainland Russia by the territories of the two independent states, Lithuania and Belarusia. The history of this area is rather special, and I would say maybe even tragic, because until 1945, this territory was part of the Eastern Prussia, which belonged to Germany.
According to the decisions of Yalta and Potsdam conferences, after the end of the Second World War, the former Eastern Prussia was divided into two parts. 2/3, according to the decrees of these conferences, were given to Poland, and 1/3, which is nowadays Kaliningrad region, was given to the Soviet Union. It's 15,000 square kilometers. So, since 1255, this city was called Königsberg until 1946. In 1946, the city was renamed Kaliningrad after a very close friend and associate of Stalin, Mr. Kalinin, though he has never been to our city before. Never. That's sort of, part of the Soviet traditions. He died, and in 1946, and in order to commemorate his memory, this city was named after him. So since 1946, the city is called Kaliningrad, and this was, until 1991, a center of the totally militarized area, because we were the place of the location of the headquarters of the Baltic Fleet, and really very militarized area, and because of that, this area was for nearly 50 years totally closed for the foreigners. Even the Soviet citizens had the problems to visit some parts of our region, like for instance the port of Baltis and the other militarized areas. Since 1991, we say that we opened a new page in the history of the Soviet city of Kaliningrad, because it became open for the foreigners. And since that time, in fact, our international cooperation started. I should say that in order sort of maybe trying to catch up with the previous period, we quite actively worked in order to put Kaliningrad back on the map of the world. And I should say, well, I want you to understand that I'm representing the city authorities, the mayor of the city and his team, so to say. So we are in charge for the city development. I'm not talking about the regional administration, because we also have the governor of the region, and he's in charge for the whole region. So I'm talking about the city activities. Since 1991, trying to catch up, we have really, from my point of view, did a lot, and nowadays Kaliningrad has 18 partner cities, or sister cities as you call them in the United States, and one of them is even in the United States. This is the city of Norfolk in Virginia. And since 1995, when we signed the official cooperation agreement with Norfolk, we have quite active cooperation, and mainly we are trying sort of to concentrate on promoting our links between NGOs, between school children, between students. That is the main sort of essence of our cooperation with Norfolk. And since '95, we had already 7 groups, exchange groups of our school children. The American children we spend, normally they spend about a month here in Kaliningrad. They're being accommodated in the families, and vice versa. So it's going quite actively. As to the other cities, the geography is really very wide. We even have the twin city in China, that's the port of Dalian. We're trying to find normally the cities which have something in common in our economy, in our social development, so that's how it works. Maybe the most specific feature of Kaliningrad region is that we are the exclave, or the enclave. I would say it's our geopolitical location, because on one hand being part of Russian Federation, on the other hand we are so close to Europe, nearly in the center of Europe. Just for you to compare, it's only 350 kilometers to Warsaw from here, 600 kilometers to Berlin, and it's 1,200 kilometers to Moscow. That makes, of course, our life a bit different from the other parts of Russian Federation, and plus to that, of course, the sort of German background, I would say. Well, and this exclave location made our regional administration think about sort of the new concept of the regional development.
Including, the things aren't always going to work the way we want them to. Take today, for example. And it's 12 days, which in my mind isn't that long, but sometimes people have little conflicts in the group. Please, just try to be a little mature, if you don't mind me asking that. And on the bus, if you can rotate seats on your own, that makes it easier for everybody. Okay? And I'm going to try to hog one of these 2 seats because I need to talk to the guide and the driver. Thanks.
По перекрестку и там прямо. Он так мне сказал.
Yeah. Yeah.
About a
На такси бабушке приедет.
wait at the borders. I can't remember.
On this tour?
No, well, just in general, that sometimes trucks
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
are there for hours.
Part of the reason we go up the spit is because the border there is a lot. The trucks don't take the border there. The border there is a lot quicker than the other border. It's more of a scenic thing, yeah.
This article,
А вот из города, например, нет выезда показано, где, например, в центр. Нет ни одной стрелки.
Which country are you talking about? You have it?
Недавно так сделали. Я помню, как там
You wanted that
Ну,
Baltic.
в Каунасе там была тоже проблема раньше, сейчас.
приезжали люди, всегда
went in
I see.
about 3 days.
Yeah.
Are we going to go down to the mine?
Yeah. So this
This
is
is
the
it?
only pit mine of the only amber plant in the world. I mean the only pit mine because it's the only place where the amber... Oh, good for you. So Gloria has come back actually.
Gloria, you
Yeah,
found
Gloria,
Gloria?
She had a plan, yeah, with
Oh.
Shira, fortunately, yeah.
What did she do? Take a taxi?
Yeah, took a taxi.
She took a taxi?
She took a taxi, yeah.
We'll find out in a minute.
So the amber is mined by open cast here. In the 19th century there were mines, but very often they were flooded by the waters of the Baltic and very many miners were killed. That's why in the beginning of the 20th century it was decided to mine amber here by open cast. Well, the blue earth, amber-bearing blue earth, lies on the depth of 40 meters. So the excavators have to take away 40 meters of earth to get to that blue earth. The amber-bearing layer here extends for 15 kilometers along the Baltic Sea coast. And they say it is enough for 300 years. For 300 years the amber can be mined here. So they go step by step, yeah? For example, they worked some years ago, they worked over there, then they move that way, they move to the right. Well, the same pit is used for a year, yeah, for a year average. So you see, it is mined here. Then it goes. There are pipes there down, and then the amber, together with the blue earth, goes up to the amber factory, and only there it is washed, it is sifted, sorted, and then only 10% of large pieces of amber go for the production of amber jewelry, and the other 90% go for the production of paint, acid and oil. I showed you at the Amber Museum yesterday. Well, the amber plant itself is closed for the visitors. No visitors are allowed there. Nobody is allowed to see the process of manufacturing amber jewelry. Life is very low here. They earn very little. That's why there is a lot of stealing as well as in the pit mine, and both at the pit mine and at the factory. Yeah, a lot of stealing. And some time ago we brought groups there, tourists there,
And then when they accused tourists in stealing, that's why it was decided in order not
Like
to
these
stop
kids out here
stealing
telling me.
amber, Well, but of course none of the tourists never took a small piece of amber there, of course. But you see, life is very hard for them. For example, I know that in July they got the salary for me.
Oh no, I'm actually taping.
Sorry.
Okay.
Will amber burn? Is it flammable?
Yeah, it is. It burns. It burns. And the stone itself is very, so to say, tender and soft. Yeah. And now they're using the German technology while producing amber jewelry. The amber is